We welcome you to Raleigh in our coverage of ACC Network basketball after a 22-point win here Wednesday night over Duke in the Quad 1. NC State goes big game hunting again as the Wolfpack welcome number 8 Florida State inside PNC Arena. It's a big weekend of ACC basketball. It's already underway. Virginia securing a 3-point road win at Pittsburgh. You see the Cavaliers are locked in 4, 2.5 ahead of NC State. Meanwhile, Florida State at 12-3. Big time for them today in Raleigh, Monday night against Louisville. Jordan Cornette, the Noles looking to secure the double bye and maybe the regular season title.
You're talking postseason already. We're focused on the regular season. This Florida State team, they've got a lot to get done, but are in prime position to take care of business. Winning on the road against a very hungry Wolfpack team goes a long way for them.
Well, and for Markel Johnson the other night, a career high for him. While he's the leader of the Wolfpack, the struggle has been real for Devin Vassell the last couple of ball games.
And you know what's wild? It hasn't really mattered because Florida State is so deep. Versus Syracuse, he's out that game, they get the win. He comes back in pedestrian numbers, but other guys lift up. For North Carolina State, they don't have that luxury. They're going to need Markel Johnson to be special for 40 minutes for his team, their team, to have a shot versus these Seminoles.
Noles are in the road black, NC State the home white. Good crew on the whistle, Roger Ayers, Lee Cassell, and Jerry Heater in front of a big crowd in Raleigh at PNC Arena as Manny Bates and Malik Osborne get us started, and Leonard Hamilton returning to his home state of North Carolina. We'll put it in the hands of Trent Forrest first. Florida State beat Pittsburgh Tuesday night by 15, shot 50% from the floor in beating Jeff Capel's team. Forrest and Bryce the rebound. Wolfpack got a fast start the other night against Duke, led wire to wire.
Paramount versus Florida State team, coming out with that edge, that sense of urgency, ready to play from the jump, does a lot of good for this Wolfpack team.
15 to shoot for Devin Daniels. Now here's Johnson. 8 to shoot, he sizes up Walker off the screen of Bates. Markel spins out, and the rebound for Osborne. You see the Noles line up. They did not elect to match the bigs of Funderburk and Bates. Second chance slipped out of Bates' hands, and Raquan Gray handles it for Florida State on the reset.
For Florida State, they do have great size, but not a great defensive rebounding team. Get after you on that offensive glass, though.
7 to shoot, and Osborne skips for Forrest. Rimmed out, Vassell gives the Noles a third chance. Vassell back for Malik Osborne, standing 3, and the rebound for Daniels.
That's some bend but don't break defense right there, no question.
No score, almost 2 minutes gone. Daniels fouled on the drive. The foul will be on Raquan Gray, and great to be with Katie George today.
Well, guys, Kevin Keith said the biggest mistake his team could make today is thinking that they can beat FSU by playing the same way that they played against Duke. He said they're two totally different teams. They were able to get inside against Duke on Wednesday. Today, that'll be more of a challenge. So the Wolfpack will need to score in a variety of ways, particularly on the perimeter. Now, it may take a different game plan to pull off another upset here, but players say they'll need the same level of toughness and composure to do so, Wes.
It's going to be interesting, especially because when you beat Duke by 22 as Daniels hits both, you're the toast of the town for like 2 days, Jordan.
Everybody's telling you how great you are, how you belong in the tournament. You can't rest on your laurels because Florida State is just as good as Duke, but like Katie said, very different personnel.
Walker on Funderburk. Vassell a 3. That's a good sign for Florida State. Devin Vassell just 1 of 5 last Tuesday, and a backcourt foul on MJ Walker. So Devin Vassell, who enters the game 14th in conference play in scoring. And Jordan, I got to be honest with you, I think he's first team All-ACC.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's been so many scouts I've talked to at the next level, had long conversations, and they are so excited about what he brings Right now, it's about the college game in this regular season.
Forrest on the takeaway and layup. Trent Forrest, the grad guard from Chipley, Florida, and very quickly 5 in a row for the Noles. C.J. Bryce kind of got lost in the headlines Wednesday night. There's Thunderbird, who had 21 in the win against the Blue Devils, getting NC State their first field goal.
You don't love this shot. That's probably the extent of his range to about there, but you give him that space with the confidence he's playing with right now. Watch out.
You're saying he might have been amped up on that 3 the other night?
Yeah.
Vassell, 10 to shoot. Here's Forrest again. Got baseline, skips for Walker, open 3 on the wing. And Thunderbird the rebound.
Great discipline on the drive, make him meet a chest, swing pass, late contest, and the one and done scenario.
3.5 gone. The runner by Bryce missed everything. Forrest challenges Bates. Offensive foul on Trent Forrest. 1 on Forrest, 3 on Florida State early, and the Noles give it right back to the Wolfpack. Oh, they called it on Osborne, not Forrest. So it'll be the first on the Rice transfer from Madison, Illinois, Malik Osborne. Rice trying to find a seam here.
Wolfpack first time seeing the Seminoles, finding out very quickly they change, switch on everything. Windows of opportunity very slim to pursue gaps.
Bryce, deep fall away from the front. Osborne snatched it out. Raekwon Gray all the way to the rack. 6'8", 260, coming at you in 5th gear. Very workmanlike start for Florida State, Jordan. Bryce against Vassell. Here's Markel Johnson against Gray. Foul line jumper, good for Johnson.
Astute decision making, decisive effort for Markel Johnson, identifying the mismatch versus Gray, making the read, beating him off the dribble, and conversion.
Here's Gray, lost it on the dribble, tried to keep it alive, Forrest does. And he scoops it up and in. 4 for Trent Forrest.
Talk about a steady performer.
Hey, not just on the floor. Yesterday, he was named one of almost 50 ACC postgraduate scholarship winners.
That's the kind of leadership you want for a team that has so many pieces. You got to have a guy to get them all in line. Forrest as good as any.
We get a timeout. Foul is on the Noles. NC State falling behind early thanks to a couple of field goals from Trent Forrest. ACC Network Basketball is brought to you by Farm Rich. Are you hungry? Grab a snack. And this was the scene on the floor at PNC Arena as the final seconds ticked off on Wednesday night in the 88-66 victory for the Wolfpack over the 6th-ranked Blue Devils. And Markel Johnson, we told you earlier, career high 28. Devin Daniels, a career high 25, and DJ Thunderbird, 1 short of his career high as well.
Yeah, they were absolutely lights out, the Wolfpack, playing with great confidence and led by really 3 guys, upperclassmen getting it done.
They have changed the foul a moment ago that was assessed to Osborne and awarded it to Trent Forrest. So it's still 4 fouls for Florida State, but it's the first on Forrest, and for the first time today, Leonard Hamilton's gotten to the bench. Dominic Olinichuk, wearing number 15 for the Noles, on the floor. Here's Markel Johnson, had a 3 blocked by Raekwon Evans. Daniels gathers and scores on the stick back for the Wolfpack. 4 for Devin Daniels. So Evans out of Billings, Montana, off the bench along with Olenichuk. And also here's Patrick Williams, the 6'8" freshman from Charlotte, who almost turned it over. Jericho Helms batted it away. Last touch by Florida State, says Roger Ayers. Second turnover for Leonard Hamilton's team. And now all of a sudden, 6 minutes in, here's kind of NC State getting their sea legs in this game.
And that's what was to be expected, Wes, with a Florida State team they haven't seen this year, really feeling out where the opportunities are going to come from.
Johnson feeds Helms, and another foul called underneath the basket by Lee Cassell. And the foul will be on MJ Walker, and that is his second and 5 on Leonard Hamilton's team. What a marvelous job the 71-year-old native of Gastonia, North Carolina has done. And Jordan, I equate it to people saying he had good teams. He now has a good program.
And it took a while for him to build up, not in terms of success. That came pretty early with Coach Hamilton. But the belief that this system could work, not getting 5 All-Americans, but building a roster 1 through 11, really, of very talented players.
Daniels on the drive and fouled by Evans. That'll be his first, and that is 6 on Florida State. So the Noles are racking up some team fouls here, and NC State, a 70.7 free throw shooting team, as the Battle Creek, Michigan native Daniels knocks the first one down. Don't forget, Tuesday night, more basketball here on ACC Network. Over to Winston-Salem we'll go for Wake Forest and Duke in their second meeting of the year at 7 o'clock, as the Blue Devils try and stay in that mix with Louisville and with Florida State for the regular season crown. And the 7th foul on Florida State comes on the free throw missed by Daniels. And a couple of free throws coming for Jericho Helms on Patrick Williams' first foul. And there is number 7 with 13:24 to go in the first half. NC State yet to be whistled for one as Helms from St. Louis to the line. Jericho Helms, 16 points, or 5 points the other night, 10 of 24, and 3 of his last 9 from 3 coming in as he knocked the first free throw down.
Helms is a big part of the operation in terms of generating balance for this Wolfpack team. 41% of his shots come from the three-point line. Sometimes you like to see Helms be a little bit more aggressive in his pursuit for shots inside the arc.
Right. 1 point lead for the Wolfpack after that flurry. And Anthony Polite tried to get all the way through against Johnson. Got bottled up and kicks for Forrest. Olenichuk trying to post up Bates. Polite had it bothered by Markel Johnson. In the corner, Williams, the freshman, missed everything on the 3. Wolfpack's got the momentum, Jordan.
Yeah, and they're looking to run and explore some early stuff, too. That edge, which if you were curious if they're going to play with it, that's been clear.
Johnson trying to take Olenichuk. Skips for Helms. Big 3.
It's all Markel Johnson. Drive and kick. Available shooters. Can they make those shots this afternoon? Helms delivers. A 7-0 run, and the Wolfpack got some life.
4 point lead for Kevin Keats' team. You wondered how the first few minutes would be post Wednesday night in the victory against Duke. Olenichuk, right-hand jump hook over the top of Bates. Dominic Olenichuk, grad transfer from Poland on the board.
Bates is a rim protector, no question, but you want to challenge him. That's a grad center at 7 foot tall going against a 6'11 freshman. You want to try and expose Bates, get him into foul trouble potential.
Forrest switches, and here's Daniels. Trying to drive on Olenichuk. Runner right hand, bounces in for Devin Daniels. Second field goal for Daniels. He's got 7, coming off 25 on Wednesday night.
Such a good slasher, a guy with so many shooters on his team, or guys that want to take him. He loves to drive that thing, put pressure on a defense.
Olenichuk, and A foul will be called, and that'll get us to a timeout. But, boy, you're right. Markel Johnson and Devin Daniels have brought the Wolfpack back.
Doing what he does. Hellam's the beneficiary there, but the drive to get the defense to commit. Then Daniels carving up that defense, finishing at the rim.
Well, here in Raleigh, NC State leads by 4, 15-11. With 11:20 to go in this first half, with Jordan Cornett, Wes Durham, Alex Formentino, our producer, Michael Sullivan, our director, and the Wolfpack. We keep talking about the win over Duke on Wednesday night, but you had to sort out what NC State was going to be post-Duke here in the first few minutes, Jordan.
Yeah, and it started with their perimeter. Then it started with Markel Johnson. I mean, ultimately, his level of play is who the Wolfpack are going to be in any game. And right now he's playing with an edge. He's starting to be aggressive, getting into the paint, making the defense respect him, and that edge becomes contagious.
Florida State out of the timeout. Here's Williams with 7 to shoot. Now Forrest with the shot clock winding down. Polite shot clock violation. I don't think the Noles had an idea that the clock was running out on the possession as Devin Vassell comes back in for Leonard Hamilton's team. Third turnover for Florida State.
Yeah, and it's a Florida State team that can fall into bouts of being careless with the basketball and having careless moments like that. The Wolfpack must take advantage of that on their home floor because Florida State is a well-coached team. They're not going to make too many mistakes like that.
So it's a 4-point game. And Braxton Beverly is on the floor, the junior from Hazard, Kentucky, but he has struggled offensively as of late. Averaging just 2 points over the last 3 games. He's only hit 2 of his last 15 from the floor. 11 to shoot for Beverly. And Johnson over there getting a break on the Wolfpack bench. And here's Daniels slashing from the wing and blocked from behind out of bounds by Vassell with 2 to go on the possession.
And we talk about how the Wolfpack are feeling out this Florida State defense. Perfect example. You feel like you've got the defender beat on your hip. Daniels with confidence gets to the rim. Help side slides in. Vassell recovers and blocks the shot.
Quick pass. Daniels the layup. And it'll be basket interference on DJ Funderburk.
And not even necessary. The ball was going down. Daniels frustrated with Funderburk. You love your big fella being aggressive. But you got to think, I think this one was already going in. What do you think?
I'm getting ready to say, I'm going to use the benefit of the replay.
Yeah, I think it's a goaltend, no question.
Yep. The ball is definitely in the cylinder.
Definitely a goaltend.
Wolfpack by 4. Olenachuk to catch in traffic. Polite the lefty 3. Michael Polite, or Anthony Polite, the son of the former Seminole Michael Polite, knocks the 3 down and Noles to within a point.
I don't love a 7-footer right underneath the basket kicking it out, but when it's changing out a 2 for a 3, it's a great play.
Markel Johnson back to the table. There's Hellam's a scoop and a foul on Florida State. That's going to be 8 fouls on the Noles. And I believe the second on Trent Forrest.
So no question, it's a goaltend here. It's just a matter of if it was needed. Oh, that ball was going down. Funderburk had no need, over-eager, and it cost him. That layup was on its way down from Daniels.
A little big man counseling by you there? Is that what that is?
Well, that's the thing. You know, Funderburk's going to get a locker room postgame back. Not bad, dog. I thought I was helping us out. Where Daniels is saying, man, that's 2 points taken away from me.
But you're counseling DJ on that.
Yeah, I'm telling him how he needs to approach it after the game. He's got some.
Because he's already made the mistake, right? Hellam's hits both the free throws. He has 6. And NC State has built a 3-point lead on number 8 Florida State. Here's Raekwon Evans with Patrick Williams, Olenachuk, Vassell, and Polite. Another catch by the big man. Back over the left shoulder, and he'll draw the Funderburk foul.
Now, Florida State has made it a focus of theirs in a half-court setting to go down low, play through these bigs. That's vintage Florida State. Coach Hamilton loves featuring his bigs. He wants to test Funderburk, get him in some foul trouble, and really open up the interior.
Just the 15th free throw attempt of the year for Olenachuk. And it's good. Gives him 3 points. Don't forget Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on ACC Network. Another edition of All Access with Carolina basketball. Behind the scenes look at the return of Cole Anthony and the epic showdown with Duke. Also an in-depth look at the story of Charles Scott as we celebrate Black History Month. 8 o'clock Monday night here on ACC Network. During the break here in Raleigh, in fact, speaking of the first African-American scholarship basketball player at Carolina, Charles Scott, Al Hartley, honored here by the PNC Arena crowd, the first African-American basketball player on scholarship at NC State.
Crowd respecting their history, got up on their feet and went crazy. I loved it.
Yep.
Cool moment.
1 point lead for NC State. Johnson back on the floor for Coach Keats.
There's 6'7", Vassell as the defender.
Beverly catch and shoot. Knocks it down. 40th 3 of the year for Braxton Beverly, who was just one of his last 9 from behind the line. And an offensive foul on Evans as Jericho Hellam stepped in front.
Now, Markel Johnson averages 6.5 assists per game. He's going to find his guys. It's just come down to, are they going to be there? And here's Hellam's. As much as he was in position, Evans with that arm bar is ultimately what earned the whistle.
Jordan, I think here in the last 3 to 4 weeks, I have seen more offensive fouls called because the leading arm of the offensive player.
And the defense has to do their part to sell it. And you got a little bit of that with Helms because he was in proper position defensively too.
Catch and shoot, Price from the right. And the rebound for Polite. Picks up on the dribble against Helms, and now Vassell. Koprivica has come in the ball game, wearing number 5 for Florida State to replace Olenicuk a moment ago. Balša Koprivica from Serbia. Here's Gray spinning, and a whistle foul called by Lee Cassell on the baseline.
Now, great, that was really smart decision for him. Gets in the post. He feels the double coming one way, spins away from it to stay with the advantage with the smaller Johnson. He sees Funderburk, spins away from Funderburk to get to that rim and draw the foul, going away from the defense. Big time play.
6'8", 260 on the wheel, by the way.
I love the big fellas that can move. Had him on when I was filling in for you on Packer and Durham. I said, so how do you do it with 2 Raekwons on a roster? Who goes by who? He goes, come on, man, I'm Turk. You're the only person that doesn't call me Turk. Grandmama gave me that nickname. I said, my fault. So it's Turk from here on out.
All right. So Turk Gray?
Turk Gray.
Has 3 points.
Turk. Very fun interview.
Had 8 minutes to go. Tell you what, he's done a marvelous job. Kind of in that supplemental role of what Forrest and Vassell and Williams and Osborne have given him. There's a 3 by Beverly spinning away, and Hellam's the rebound. Second chance opportunity again, and Jericho traveled with it before the shot.
It's the right call. Fumbled that thing trying to gather it to go. Right call.
3-point lead for the Wolfpack. Under 8 break in Raleigh on ACC Network. Well, the second line in the Battle of the Blues comes up on March 7th.
Let's go.
At the goalways to top the first edition this year. Welcome back to Raleigh. NC State working on a 3-point margin here against Florida State. They got in the tournament according to Joe Lunardi with the win over Duke, and looking for another quad 1 win, as Kevin Keats told you this morning.
I must have heard the term quad 1 a million times from Coach Keats, and for good reason. You look at what they've done in the quad 1, the most out of any team in the ACC in terms of quad 1 wins with 5. That should be something worth boasting about. However, think back to last year. You played Clemson, this Wolfpack team. You beat them in the first round of the ACC. You thought that was good enough to get in the dance. It wasn't. So you want to be a team that controls your own destiny. It starts with seizing the opportunity this afternoon and not worrying about what Lunardi has to say, just simply being in this thing.
Wyatt Wilkes has checked into the ball game for the first time. He wears 31 for the Florida State Ball Club. 5 on the shot clock. Gray got caught in a double team. Little fall away. It's short. Funderburk, the rebound. And here's Funderburk against Koprivica. The ball got slapped away, and it will stay with the Wolfpack. Katie, who was with Leonard Hamilton's group a moment ago.
Well, Coach Charlton Young was very candid in that last huddle. He said, look, we're giving them too much respect right now. They only have 2 turnovers. We have to be more active with our hands. We have to poke at it, get them out of rhythm. So it'll be interesting to see if they talk about it now.
Katie, thank you. 3-point lead and a break in the action in Raleigh. Well, as Katie was telling you, there's Charlton Young, an outstanding college player at Georgia Southern. I'll tell you this, a tremendous assistant, not only for Leonard Hamilton, and everybody talks about the recruiting prowess, but this is a good development staff now that they put together here in Tallahassee. Let's go back to Katie on the timeout a moment ago with Charlton.
Well, as you said about Young, very, very great developer. He said, we're backing up right now. We're watching them and letting them have their way in the paint right there. He said we have to clog the lanes, be more efficient with deflections, forcing turnovers and steals.
Well, Funderburk on cue scores. It's a 5-point game, the largest of the night in terms of a lead.
This is not traditionally what you see from Florida State's defense, and that is a credit to the Wolfpack and their offensive edge. But no doubt you got to see more ball pressure from these Seminoles, make it a little bit more uncomfortable for this perimeter of the Wolfpack that's having a time right now.
Here's Wyatt Wilkes on the catch and shoot, and that's what he does. 72% of his shots against the conference are threes. He had 19 against Notre Dame, and he knocks down the triple there. Helms feeding Funderburk, and a foul called. And I believe it is on Wyatt Wilkes.
You talk about depth from Florida State. Here's a prime example. Polite with the drive, gets his feet into the paint. That defense collapses, and Wilkes left wide open. Coach Hamilton very high on this young man and talking with him. Believes by the time he's done, he could be one of the all-time great shooters in Seminoles history. That kind of praise.
10th best free throw shooter in the ACC, DJ Funderburk, now has 5 here in the half. Wilkes, by the way, young man from Orlando, is a basketball legacy, and there's no other way around it. His grandfather, Dr. Glenn Wilkes, was the longtime head basketball coach at Stetson, as Funderburk has the second rattle out. And his dad and mom, both basketball players in their own right. And his dad, a fine coach at Rollins College in Florida. That ball thrown away on the turnover. Here is Helms, open floor for the dunk.
And Gray must have thought he had a teammate standing next to him, because that was a pass headed his way that he didn't step into.
Back to a 5-point edge. The sell for Wilkes again. Long rebound for Helms. And here's Markell.
Watch Johnson trying to get the paint. He's been starting off most half-court sets by getting in there and then moving it. There it is.
Skip for Daniels. The sell pulls it away. And then Daniels took it away on the exchange. Bryce, right back from Johnson. Oh my goodness. First points for C.J. Bryce. When it's going your way.
It's going your way, Wes.
Under 5 to go. And last touch by Florida State.
I mean, just here's the Seminoles. Unforced error. Gray didn't know what to do with it. Helms said, okay, thank you very much. And then another live ball turnover, this time in their own backcourt. Daniels over to Bryce. Bryce must have thought that was Funderburk. Johnson goes, gives it right back to him. Hot cakes for the layup.
Bryce for Daniels. Funderburk, 7 to shoot. Had it taken away by Gray.
Doing too much, Wes.
Now Patrick Williams, and Daniels poked it out of there. Johnson for Daniels on the run, and he almost volleyballed it in.
Daniels has been mighty active, though. Disruptive defensively. Turning Florida State over by himself.
Polite long with the 3. And the stick back won't go. Wow. Williams tap does.
That's incredible. That is a leaping ability unlike any other in this building.
Patrick Williams' first points cuts it back to a 5-point game.
I mean, I don't know what the leaping ability is of the fans out here, but I don't think anybody's jumping like Patrick Williams.
Pretty solid.
Wow.
So now, Florida State's had a turnover issue here in the last few minutes. And now Vassell picks Johnson. He'll try and beat Helms to the rack, and one. Second field goal for Devin Vassell, and Jericho Helms makes it worse with the foul in transition.
You know, we call this, Wes, breakdown here. Johnson looking. Cookies! Devin Vassell the other way with the layup.
Well, 3.5 to go here in this first half, and NC State leading number 8 Florida State 27-24. Always great to be on the ride with Jordan Cornette on an ACC Saturday. We were talking during the break. NC State's been the more aggressive of the two teams here so far.
That is rare when playing Florida State. Florida State, usually with their defense leading the way, puts a stamp on the kind of game it's going to be. They're the aggressor. Right now, that hasn't been the case. The Wolfpack have been the team that's been charging and put Florida State on their heels. Turnovers for Florida State's been a little bit of an issue. Now, NC State hasn't capitalized necessarily, but it's taken Florida State out of their offensive rhythm because they haven't been able to establish one because of the carelessness with the pill.
It's interesting, too, because NC State, they've gone from playing on the momentum of Wednesday night now to playing with momentum today.
Really impressive. That was the question coming in. Would the Wolfpack have enough, especially with the depth of a Florida State team? Now, look, we're only 17 minutes into this game. As deep as Florida State goes, can the Wolfpack maintain? That'll become the theme as we get deep into the second half.
8 to shoot for Bryce, who's been relatively quiet so far. Bates lost a handle on it to Vassell. 5 turnovers for the Wolfpack. Evans back on the floor. He plays with 2. Remember, Forrest went to the bench with under 10 minutes to go with 2 fouls for Coach Hamilton. Out for Evans. Standing 3 is short. And Williams the rebound from behind Manny Bates. Boy, there's a lot to like about the freshman Patrick Williams.
And for a McDonald's All-American coming in, lacks the ego. Just makes plays.
There's one. He's got 4 in the game on his second field goal.
Coachable young man, very humble guy. Just another piece in the Coach Hamilton puzzle of guys you can throw out there that shine.
7-0 run by the Noles. Ties the game at 27. Thunderberg against Wilkes.
That's big time.
Bullies him in and then missed the layup. Got it back. And loose ball. Wilkes chased it, but it will stay with the Wolfpack. And Wyatt Wilkes got banged around. Then they had the presence of mind to try and get back to his feet and make a play.
He got whacked in the face, but Thunderberg took some licks on the shot here. I thought there's some decent contact. Williams coming from help side. Let it play through. Hey, I ain't mad. I like it when they let the big guys bang around down low.
Under 2 to go. Daniels. Thunderberg again will lay it back in. 7 for DJ Thunderberg.
That's what we were talking about coming from break. That's bully ball. That's NC State being the aggressor, Florida State on their heels.
Williams missed the 2. Daniels the rebound. And the Wolfpack trying to rip and run. Bryce against Evans.
Daniels never settles for that 3. Always looks to get something back.
Here's Bryce. He'll fire. And hit. 23rd 3 of the year for Charlotte's C.J. Bryce. He's got 5, and the lead back to 5.
Coach Keith said we just need to get healthy. Maybe this is who the Wolfpack are when healthy. We'll see.
Vassell, final minute. Williams spinning on Beverly. Blocked by Bates. Here's Bryce launching again. And Evans the rebound, and a foul on Thunderberg will be his second with 45 seconds to play here in the half.
We talked about the catalyst, the aggressor, setting the tone. Daniels playing downhill, Bates tipping at it, Thunderberg gathers and delivers at the rim. And then here, Patrick Williams ain't used to denial, but when Manny Bates, the rim protector, is the last line of defense, one of the best shot blockers in the country, you'll have one.
Second on Thunderberg, a little backcourt pressure offered by the Wolfpack as we wind through this final minute. Osborne draws iron on a three. And now State can hold for one here. And a timeout will be taken by Kevin Keats. Use it or lose it 30 for the third-year coach of the Wolfpack. Don't forget, every Sunday night, our weekly basketball studios show Nothing But Net. A look at the matchups ahead in the ACC and a look back at the best games with highlights, analysis, and insight that only we can provide you. This week's show follows Miami Notre Dame tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on the ACC Network and always streaming on the ESPN app. Well, already today, Virginia has beaten Pittsburgh 59-56. Two other ball games at this hour, in addition to NC State trying to, as Kevin Keats told you, get another quad one, Jordan.
Well, that quad one conversation. Look, speaking of conversation, what they're going to be talking about on Nothing But Net tomorrow, without question, is how many tournament teams? How many tournament teams are coming out of the ACC? Virginia hold and serve, keeps them in. What we've seen in this first half goes a long way for the Wolfpack. But let's talk about the game and what's going on right now. Points in the paint. FSU had early success there. There's been some settling beyond the arc from the Seminoles. 3 of 12 there. They need to get back to pursuing those twos. Meanwhile, the Wolfpack need to just keep doing what they're doing, being in attack mode.
Here's Beverly and NC State to hold for one in the final 10.
The zone looker going back to man principles here.
Beverly for Daniels, 4-3. Devin will spin and fall away, missed everything, and the half will come to a close. So the Wolfpack, after watching Florida State build some early momentum, NC State going to take a 5-point run and a 5-point lead to the locker room here at the break, 32-27. And Coach Keats is with Katie Jordan.
Thanks, Wes. Kevin, what did you think of the aggressiveness shown by your team on both ends of the floor in that first half?
Well, I thought we showed some fight towards the end of the half. I thought early on we gave up too many offensive rebounds to those guys.
FSU has a very productive bench. What did you think of your team's ability to manage that in that first half?
Well, I thought we came out aggressive. Offensively, we got out, we made some good plays, and so we were able to handle that down.
Thank you for that.
All right, Kevin Keats and his team with a 5-point lead. Jericho Helms has 8, DJ Funderburg has 7, and NC State leads number 8, Florida State, 32-27 at the break. Stay tuned, the ACC Network halftime report is next.
Welcome into this ACC Network halftime report. Florida State trailing 32-27 on the road at NC State. Welcome into the ACC Network studios, sitting alongside Carlos Boozer and Luke Hancock. I'm Kelsey Riggs. You guys, NC State coming off a huge upset win over Duke. Now back at home and playing FSU, another ranked team. Carlos, what's been the difference in them being in the lead at the half?
They just play really good at home. If you look at the stat sheet, you could pretty much throw it away. It's almost even except for the free throws. In my opinion, I just feel like NC State's aggressiveness, they're imposing their will against Florida State, and they got a 5-point lead because of it.
And they're not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Florida State is great. Their guards are really long and athletic. They're great at getting out in passing lanes and forcing those turnovers. It's actually been NC State that's forced a few more turnovers. They need to continue to capitalize in transition. But this is why we love ACC basketball. I get it. We've talked about 4 teams getting in the tournament all year. But NC State is ready to make a run after taking down Carlos's Dukies last week. Now they're trying to take the next step and beat another great team in Florida State. This is going to be an awesome battle down the stretch.
We will see what happens in the second half. As we get closer and closer to the ACC tournament, we know how dangerous Duke is, Louisville and Florida State, and a couple of other teams as well. But some of these other teams outside of the top 3, Booze, who would you not want to see in the ACC tournament and why?
If I'm one of the top 3 teams, I think one of the teams that could surprise us would be Virginia, if we're counting those guys, and I think NC State. Those 2 teams, to me, got a lot of talent. They know how to win. They've been in tournament situations before, and they're dangerous. You see what they're doing this season. They're dangerous.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really important how the seeding lines up, because if you get the 1 seed, you avoid 2 and 3, which the top 3 teams in this league are very powerful. That team we just saw, Georgia Tech, I think they've got really good players on not a good team. They're not executing very well on every single possession, so they're not winning the big games, but I would not want to see Georgia Tech. And I'll take Clemson. Clemson's beaten everybody at the top. How could we leave out Clemson on a team you do not want to play in the ACC tournament?
You mentioned NC State, Booze. We will see what they are able to do if they can take down another one of the ACC giants. Devin Vassell doing his part, the turnover, finishing it. They've got a 5-point lead at the half.
Well, we welcome you back here to Raleigh. Jericho Helms, NC State's leading scorer at the break. He's got 8. And Jordan, he kind of picked and chose the spot, and he got a giveaway by the Noles.
Yeah, he's gifted a few with some live ball turnovers Helms capitalized on. But to be a catch-and-shoot guy, knowing what you're going to get from the drives, immensely helpful.
Devin Vassell led Florida State with 6.
He's been good defensively, too. He's ripped off a few steals of his own at 6'7", and immensely talented guy. This was as impressive a sequence as any to rip the short-handed point guard Markel Johnson, at least for today and last game, and get one to go there.
5-0 run by the Wolfpack. The final 2.5 minutes brings us to a 32-27 verdict after 20 minutes of play. Great to be with Jordan Cornette, West Durham. And, you know, you mentioned this in the first half. NC State was the aggressive team. I think that was the difference in the first 20.
Yeah, and I imagine Florida State will make their adjustments, both offensively, being in attack mode, and their perimeter defense, keeping guys in front. It'll be huge.
Well, a moment ago, Katie George caught up with Leonard Hamilton.
Leonard, what was your biggest message to your team in the locker room?
Well, we got to be a lot more aggressive offensively. We're just passing the ball around the horn and somewhat tentative, unlike what we normally play like. So hopefully we'll make that mental adjustment in the second half. Defensively, you know, they run a very challenging offense because it's a lot of one-on-one and dribble drive, and sometimes you just don't contain the dribble, and that becomes a problem for us. We got to do a much better job containing the dribble.
Thanks for the time.
All right. Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Coach Ham. MJ Walker, by the way, scoreless in the first half. Only took 1 shot, Jordan, for a guy who comes in averaging 10.5 against the league.
Goes back to what Coach Hamilton's saying, being tentative. It starts with your lead players, your lead guys stepping up.
So the number 8 team in the country trailing 5 at the break. And here's Markel Johnson spotting up. And a front rim miss that Walker gathers.
Take away some of that one-on-one ball, that penetration. Florida State shifts into a 2-3 zone look a little bit.
There's MJ Walker looking for his first basket and gets it on the runner. You would think in order for Florida State to win today, Walker's going to have to be a factor here in the second half.
He's going to have to be more aggressive hunting a shot, no question.
The zone here employed by the Noles.
Yeah, and this is all because of the inability to keep those aggressive guards on the Wolfpack perimeter from attacking and driving.
Minute gone here in the half. Deflection by Walker. Gray out front. Here's Forrest. He's got Osborne with him. And the set down dunk.
This zone has been a huge adjustment. Now you extend out a little bit more, shorten the shot clock, and now you've got a Wolfpack team that was so aggressive. Now it's their turn to be a little bit more tentative and have to read rather than simply react.
2 guys who didn't scratch in the first half have scored the first 2 points, 2 baskets rather, for Florida State here in half 2. The Noles to within 1 quickly. Johnson against Raekwon Gray at the front. Now Markel, a 3 from the left is in. After hitting 5 of 5 the other night against Duke, Johnson on the board from behind the line for the first time, and he has 5. Gray driving it at Thunderbird. Walker had it stripped away by Johnson, recovers it, gets into traffic, and scores! MJ Walker is at the table for half 2.
Exactly how you drew it up right there, Wes. Just the way you wanted it. But it goes back to being aggressive driving the thing. Speaking of how you drew it up right here, it's pretty nice. Forrest goes upstairs. Finish from Osborne, up and away. And here's where MJ Walker has really made a statement here in the second half. Attacking at the rim.
81% free throw shooter, has 5 of Florida State's 7. And the Noles to within 1 at 35-34. Flurry here to start the second half for Leonard Hamilton's team. Bryce a catch and shoot from the corner. And Daniels and Bates both had chances, couldn't collect it. And it will go to Florida State, and here is Jericho Helms with the T-shirt on. Jericho might want to get rid of that T-shirt.
Ha ha!
Play with one under the jersey, but not on the jersey.
It's a lot of layers. It is kind of
Easy.
Uncharacteristically cold down in these parts.
You know, you and Katie talking about the ice in the arena here, in the home of the Carolina Hurricanes. You guys came in the door today talking about how cold.
Hey, layers are important. Me and Katie are figuring that out very quickly.
Get you guys down here in the middle of Raleigh and you tell me how cold it is. Got a little snow on the ground here, for heaven's sakes. On the drive, Forrest. Turned over to Johnson. He'll just heave it out front. Bryce the catch. And missed the layup. CJ took a big fall underneath the basket. Knowles the other way. Walker the pull-up. They scramble at the iron and Forrest has it.
Wolfpack had battled that for the better part of the game, giving up second chance opportunities. Seminoles look to capitalize.
And we get a whistle and a foul. And it will be against Daniels, his first. Now, C.J. Bryce, remember, takes a bit of a spill here, Jordan. And remember, a month or so ago, missed a couple of ball games with concussion symptoms.
That's why I watch closely. Hope there's no bang in the head.
Katie, what'd you see?
Well, he took a bad fall, and then he stayed on the ground for a couple of minutes. And then when Florida State didn't hit the basket, he started running back down there to get on defense.
And there is a foul. Roger Ayers and Lee Cassell. They're going to ticket DJ Funderburk, and that's 4. The third of the half against the Wolfpack is number 4 on the junior from Cleveland. And now NC State, their best offensive big, is in real foul trouble.
That should change, or at least continue the path that Florida State's been exploring and being attacked for. Continue to put that pressure on, but that's absolutely a foul. That left arm from Funderburk got muddied up in there. A lot of contact. Let's keep in mind that it was a little bit lopsided, the whistle there in the first half. Florida State not being the beneficiary of much. Now they're looking to attack and get that whistle.
Walker hits them both, and the Noles are in front for the first time since it was 9-8. 36-35. Hanging in the zone, Jordan.
This is big, because now you see the Wolfpack have to settle for a lot from the outside. You've got to hit a Helms in that space right by the logo at the paint, collapse that defense, or dribble penetration is still an option.
3 to shoot. Johnson gonna heave it from way out front, miss everything. Helms collected and missed the stick back.
It's not a man defense, but yet still you got to approach it with the same principle.
Gray too strong on the drive. Bryce the lead. Daniels can't catch up to it, and NC State gives it right back at 94 feet.
It's a poor decision. Margin for error is simply too slim. Bryce, see what you wanted there, but you still got numbers. You can push that thing yourself in transition and still have an advantage.
So Florida State, with 4 minutes gone practically in the second half, is up from a 5-point halftime deficit to take the lead. Outscoring NC State 9-3 here at the front of the frame. Forrest trying to find that space between Bates and Johnson, and Trent Forrest got his third field goal.
How about the patience from Forrest there? Those dribbles, waiting to see. Thought he was going to try and force a bounce pass to Osborne. Thinks differently. Throws a little floater.
Wolfpack quickly to the foul line area. Here's Helms. A little up and under. Just the second field goal against the zone for Kevin Keats' team.
Helms has had himself a day. Active on the backboard. A viable scoring option. Keeping his Wolfpack in it.
Walker, a deep 3 from the right is good. MJ Walker has 9 out of 10, all in the second half.
Well, you asked for him. Be more assertive. Worked his way from the inside. Got comfortable there with a few baskets on out.
Largest lead of the ball game for Florida State. And the number 8 Seminoles have come on in a flurry here in the second half. And MJ Walker leading the charge with 10. Back after this in Raleigh. ACC Network basketball brought to you by Zaxby's. Hand-breaded chicken and fresh ingredients made to order only at Zaxby's. With Jordan Cornette, Katie George, West Durham, PNC Arena in Raleigh. Man, Florida State has come on like a house of fire here in the second half. A lot of it on M.J. Walker.
Yeah, M.J. Walker more assertive. Coach Hamilton, and talking to Katie coming out from the half, said he's tired of watching these guys dribble, be tentative, pass it to the next guy. Be in attack mode. Well, you lean on your best players. M.J. Walker delivering that to begin the second stanza.
Remember now, the game was tied at 35 when Funderburk left with 16:53 to go on his fourth foul. Daniels at three. Devin Daniels. It's now two, beg your pardon, on the line in the corner. Devin Daniels with 9 on his third field goal.
But Wes, that's how you attack that zone. Johnson dribbles, gets into the paint. Defense is shifty. Kicks it over. Daniels then drives it, and then you get the clean look from the outside.
Trent Forrest. Now here's Vassell. Ball away, left it short. Osborne inside trying to clean it up, went to the deck, and a hell ball will belong to the Noles. Florida State by 1, a break in Raleigh.
Some big-time adjustments made from the Seminoles at the half. Started with going to a zone defense. Took away the aggressive drives from this NC State perimeter and really opened up live ball turnovers. Really frustrated the Wolfpack finding their looks, settling for outside ones, low percentage opportunities. Then they tried to get out and run, beat the defense before it could set up, really pushing it. All sorts of out of whack is NC State currently.
And off the inbound, Florida State couldn't pull the trigger on the inbounds pass off the baseline. Lee Cassell the whistle, turnover number 9 on Leonard Hamilton's team. And stop here for a moment as Jerry Heater is at the scorer's table. The umpire working today with Roger Ayers and Lee Cassell to get the shot clock cycled back to 30. And here's some backcourt pressure off.
Yeah, nothing too heavy. Mainly just to shorten the clock, make them work to get it up. And then you get right back into that zone. Trying to figure this thing out now. Takes even more off the clock, and you're really settling. So I like what Coach Hamilton's doing here defensively.
Trent Forrest drives the defensive instructions for Leonard Hamilton off the front. There's Mellons, who's having a pretty good ball game now to double figures. He's got 12 on his fourth field goal.
Wolfpack slowly starting to figure it out. Even though it's not man, we can still attack this thing. Really try and get 2 feet in the paint. There are gaps within the 2-3 zone.
Take steam out of their offensive execution, too, that they had in the first half.
Yeah, it took them out of the rhythm, most importantly, Wes. And that was huge because they had found some rhythm, which equated to some momentum.
Williams on the baseline, fouled by Bates. Second on the freshman Bates, fourth on the Wolfpack, Katie.
Well, Kevin Keats in that last timeout, he breaks things down each half into 5 4-minute segments, or battles as he likes to call them. NC State lost the first battle of this half 14-5. Keats said it's okay as long as we get consecutive stops and get back to being the aggressor. He said we're playing like we're back on our heels right now. I want to see you guys in attack mode, much like we saw from State in the first half, Wes.
You see the Lynchburg, Virginia native at the front of the bench as Patrick Williams hits both free throws. Florida State yet to be whistled for a foul here in the second half. 4 on Keats' Wolfpack. I've often told him I think he ought to put a pedometer in his pocket during the game. I'd just like to know the miles. He doesn't sit much. Bryce Daniels launching. And kept alive and recovered by Osborne. Well, Malik Osborne is not your traditional 5, and there's Vassell and 1.
Great body control, playing through the contact. How about the look for Williams? Decisive with the look, in stride, seamless right there. That's a great delivery. Stepping into it with momentum at 6'7". The length, the body control, the athleticism to the forefront.
By the way, that is 3 on the redshirt freshman Manny Bates. Funderburk's on the bench with 4, now Bates with 3. And Vassell, who's hit his only free throw of the day, can't find that one on the 3-point try.
Really hurt the Wolfpack to not play heavy minutes with Funderburk, who saddled with those fouls.
Given his performance on Wednesday night against Duke. Here's Bryce. This is long on the three.
It's advantage Florida State. It's exactly what they're looking for. Forced out of rhythm threes. Heaves.
Williams challenging both Bryce and Bates. And Osborne the rebound. In traffic, Forrest. 10 to shoot.
Likes this matchup. Bates on the outside.
Trying to split the front. Helms will commit the foul. Second on Jericho Helms. It'll be number 6 on the Wolfpack. 4-point lead for Florida State. Don't forget Tuesday night right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Duke travels to Winston-Salem. Second meeting of the year against Danny Manning and the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest as the Blue Devils try and capture their first regular season ACC title since 2010. Duke ran off in the first meeting and won 90-59. Williams went for the hammer. Bates bothered it, and Osborne scores on the recovery. Florida State's got its largest lead.
Bates doesn't let you get anything easy at the rim. Patrick Williams has found that out a difficult way twice, but because he's aggressive, it allows Helpside to get the easy rebound and finish.
Here's across for Daniels. 8 minutes gone in the second half. Beverly, shot fake and a 2 is good for Braxton Beverly. He's got 5, a 3 and a regular field goal. A little bit more patient there on that possession for the Wolfpack.
Really who Florida State is with the zone. So in these opportunities, there's going to be breakdowns defensively to exploit.
Here's Osborne. Remember now, challenging Bates. And scores. Tough shot. Malik Osborne's got 6 all in the second half.
That is a tough shot.
Markel Johnson and the Wolfpack find themselves down 6.
It's a point of game where Johnson's got to start to take some control of his team.
Here's Beverly, a 3 from the front. Got it in 1. So Braxton Beverly, who was just one of his last 9 from behind the line, has knocked down 2 triples and a regular field goal, and he'll go to the line for the rare 4-point play when we come back. All right, Kelsey, thank you very much. Jay Alter, Dallin Cuff standing by at Conti Forum, and we sent you to the break when Braxton got touched up by Devin Vassell on a 3. So as we come back to live action here at PNC Arena, young man from Hazard, Kentucky is headed to the stripe for the rare 4-point play.
And watch out. This guy's a sharpshooter. He's been struggling. We talked to Coach Keats today, and he really believed this could be the breakout game. Has been battling injuries all season long, but yet still, first one in the gym, last one to leave, wants it as much as anybody. They could look to him to bust this zone and force Florida State to play more minutes.
Forrest, lob catch, Williams up strong and fouled, and that's Danny Dixon, the grad transfer from Missouri, Kansas City, who commits the foul. That is 17 fouls on the Wolfpack, Katie.
Well, in that last huddle, Leonard Hamilton urged his players to keep driving and attacking the paint. He said, don't let them off the hook, you guys. Their bigs are in so much foul trouble. They don't want to foul you right now. We have the advantage right now, so go and exploit it just like we saw Patrick Williams do there.
That's a great point, Katie. 14 points in the paint in the first half for the Seminoles. They're at 28 points in a half. We're only halfway through the second stanza right now, so you can tell that is where the focus is at, really attacking them at the chin.
Well, Funderburk and Bates on the bench. Danny Bates with 3, DJ Funderburk with 4. That's why you see Danny Dixon on the floor, who did not play the other night against, or played 5 minutes against Duke, did not play at Boston College last Sunday night. Here's Johnson with 7 to shoot, and a lot of dribbling against Osborne, and the scoop and score from Markel Johnson, who has 7 in the ball game.
A man defense presented for Florida State. Markel Johnson, those eyes get big and goes right to the rim.
Yep, under 10 to go now. 2-point lead for the number 8 Seminoles. Vassell a three. Got it from the left corner.
Some contact there, too. Everly, hands to the face. Vassell still gets it to go.
11 for Vassell. The lead is 5. We're closing in on finding out what's what here.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in the Wolfpack, I'd look for some driving kicks from Johnson.
There's Johnson, another scoop. Williams the rebound. Crowd wanted a foul, didn't get it, and Kevin Keats has been teed up, I believe, by Lee Cassell.
Coach Keats didn't like there was no whistle there on the Johnson drive. Standing up for his guys. A little too vocal. Let's take a look. Wes, what do you think here? Somebody didn't look over the top. Let's see from this angle, we'll get better look.
Free throw by Patrick Williams is good. So Kevin Keats, the technical with 9:21 to go. And now the lead has grown to 7 at 55-48. Largest of the ball game for the Noles.
I didn't see much contact at all. Definitely not enough contact to warrant the reaction that Keats delivered.
Yep.
Yeah. I hope we have the mute button behind us because fans are getting colorful here in the row behind us. Very intense fans here. And I love that part of the game. You got kids in the room, maybe ask them to leave.
Here's Walker for Vassell. And it fell off. Osborne tried to tap it from behind Dixon and draws the foul. First on Malik Osborne, second of the half on Florida State. You see Stan Jones, Charlton Young, and Steve Smith with head coach Leonard Hamilton.
It's got a great staff.
Yeah, done a really, really good job building this program. Johnson in the backcourt had to break the timeline before the 10 count. Johnson lets him even more of a premium at this point, right? Here's Johnson at 3 on 2. Missed it on the backside for Williams on the rebound.
I just feel like Johnson needs to try to break Osborne down again. Quick first step, put pressure. Osborne, a great defender with size.
Foul on Markel Johnson, his second. 1-1 down at the Florida State end of the floor, but the Walker-Bryce collision here.
He just really got into him in the lower
Dixon
side.
came on the cross check. That's where Bryce ended up taking the fall, it looked like. So here's Malik Osborne, 75% free throw shooter on the 1-1, too strong. Ahead for Bryce. Blocked Osborne. CJ got it back. Dixon battling inside, but it's pulled away by Williams. Florida State has tightened the proverbial defensive screws here in half 2.
They're not giving much up at the rim.
Forrest, a little runner and score. 8 for Trent Forrest and a timeout. 9-point lead for Florida State. Largest lead of the ball game for the Noles.
Hey, Wes, tell me if you've heard this story before. Florida State getting it done defensively, out here making plays.
Nine-point lead for number 8 Florida State. CJ Bryce. At NC State, no basketball is a contact sport, but for Bryce this year, it's been a collision sport. Shaken up a moment ago, Katie.
Yeah, prior to today, guys, CJ Bryce had played in 10 games since missing 4 after suffering a concussion in a shoot-around. In his first 5 games back, Bryce averaged 6.2 points per game, which was significantly less than his season average. Having never experienced a concussion before, Bryce said he was surprised how much it affected him. Once cleared, he still felt slow and sluggish on the floor. It was hard to find his rhythm shooting, and obviously his game fitness took a hit. But in the last 5 outings prior to today, his numbers have jumped back up, but he's finally feeling and playing like his normal self again, but that shot to the jaw might make him a little hesitant moving forward.
Yep. Keep an eye on CJ Bryce. NC State trails by 9. Largest deficit of the ball game for Kevin Keats is from here with 7:45 to play.
Bryce was big in that Miami Q's BC games. Didn't need his scoring versus Duke, but delivered 10 rebounds. Has been quiet scoring in this.
Daniels, shot clock violation. Markel Johnson trying to penetrate and kick. And NC State doesn't end up with a great look.
You're just simply going to need more from Markel Johnson down the stretch here. Daniels has made plays. Helms has made plays. But you need your star, your senior point guard, to be a star here in the last 7.5 minutes for you'd have a chance.
Skip for Vassell's three. And the rebound pulled away. Daniels, and a foul called, I believe, Osborne, or Patrick Williams. It's on the freshman Williams. It will be his second and third on Florida State here in the second half.
Combined 5 of 20, Bryson Johnson. Those two guys got to figure it out to make plays here. Helms and Daniels isn't enough. With Thunderberg back on the floor, can he play cleanly, stay in this game, but still be productive?
Daniels, long drive, scooped it up on the window. Thunderberg the stick back, and a foul will be called. And it's going to be on Malik Osborne.
He plays with such an energy. And when he's on the bench, some of that energy coupled with that zone that Florida State went to, it really sucked the life out of this Wolfpack team for a stretch that the Seminoles were able to climb back in front.
So here's DJ Thunderberg at the line, 1 of 2 in the first half. And this one good for his 8-point. Don't forget Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. New episode 5 of All Access with Carolina basketball. Behind-the-scenes look at the return of Cole Anthony to the Tar Heel lineup and the showdown with Duke. All that much more, including an in-depth piece on Charlie Scott as we celebrate Black History Month. That's Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern here on ACC Network. 7-point game, under 7 to go. And Walker, who's 10 points quickly at the start of the second half, kind of infused Florida State, who trailed by 5 at the break in. Just keep firing out in the second half. 10 to shoot for Leonard Hamilton's team. And Walker's 3 off the mark. Vassell the rebound and the second chance for Florida State.
13th offensive rebound has just been crushing for the Wolfpack, who by a large part have done a job defensively.
Bars for Walker. 5 to shoot on the reset. Out front, here's Osborne. Leans in, fouled, and 1. Malik Osborne drew the foul from Markel Johnson. That will be his third. That's 9 on the Wolfpack. And all 8 of Osborne's points here in half 2.
Yeah, that's just huge. With Wilder and Fury set to do battle later tonight, that's a devastating body blow. To guard, get a stop, allow an offensive rebound, more guarding, and a potential 3-point play opportunity.
So 1 for Osborne. How about he and Walker in this second half?
That's just it. When you talk about Florida State, obviously a lot of Walker, some Osborne, but it's really you don't know who the guy is going to be. And that's what's challenging. They played 12 guys today. 12.
Wolfpack's gone 4.5 minutes without a field goal. The deficit 10 now for Kevin Keats' club. Joe Lenardi put him in the field after the win Wednesday night, but certainly a lot of Wolfpack fans were looking for an insurance policy here today, knowing that they've got a road trip to Carolina, another game with Duke, and home games with Pitt and Wake Forest looming.
This is not Bryce's day. 2 of 12. Hasn't had many clean ones. Some of the shot selection has been questionable. And that one definitely classifies.
Forrest trying to work Helms off the Osborne pick. Tried to go to Vassell, kicked away to Williams.
Forrest on a 4-foul Thunderberg. You got to drive it here.
Instead, the long 3, badly missed. Patterson the rebound.
Bad to see.
Could be a piece of video study, perhaps.
Got a guy with 4 fouls. He can't guard.
Helms backs down Walker and scores. Jericho Helms has 14 in the ball game.
On the doorstep. Got to get some stops.
8-point game, just ahead of 5 to go in Raleigh. How much is on the line here? Leonard Hamilton, I think, wants a timeout. And Jerry Heater will give it to him across the way.
Timeout, Florida State.
Jericho Helms just backing people down.
Big time play here from Helms. You know, that's decent defense. Help side never comes. A little bit too late in the finish. Helms has been a reliable option throughout this entire game, utilizing his size and straight touch.
Don't forget Sunday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern, here on ACC Network. Nothing but net. A preview of the matchups ahead, including Monday night's game between number 11 Louisville and Florida State. A look back at the best games from the week gone by, highlights, analysis, and insight. I like to say that Kelsey Riggs officiates. Nothing but net.
Yeah,
8 o'clock Eastern.
She's the Trent Forrest of the team. She gets everybody in place.
She's the Trent Forrest
to make things happen.
How's that?
Without a doubt. She's the leader. She's the floor leader. It doesn't work
right.
if there's no Trent Forrest.
Got to have a point
guard. It doesn't work if there's no Kelsey Riggs.
So great to be with Jordan Cornette. By the way, Jay Alter, Dowling Cuff standing by Chestnut Hill. Boston College, Clemson, still to come here this afternoon on ACC Network. NC State, though, we talked about they like some insurance. The win-win.
Quad ones. Mention the quad ones.
Right. Kevin Keats said, don't forget, we could get another quad one win. But they'd like some insurance. A win here today would certainly provide them the policy of insurance. But you can't lose sight that if it doesn't work for you today, it doesn't mean it's over, right?
Doesn't mean it's over, but it's a great opportunity for you. Then you look at, you got North Carolina, you got Pitt, you're at Duke on March 2nd, which is another huge opportunity, and then Wake Forest. But then you're probably still in another position where you're going into Greensboro and saying, guys, we got to do some things here, win a game or two. Don't want to be the team sitting there on Selection Sunday wondering. Still got a shot right now, Wes.
Yep. Joe Lunardi had 5 ACC teams in the latest edition of bracketology. Needless to say, that is a volatile document this time of year. 6 to shoot. Out of the Leonard Hamilton timeout, here is Vassell off the baseline. Williams, the nice tap follow for the freshman.
That's the undoing of the Wolfpack. One of them at this point in the game is offensive rebounds for the Seminoles. The inability to get the stop and the rebound.
5th double-figure game in the last 6 now for freshman Patrick Williams. Lead back to 10 with 4:18 to go, and the runner by Daniels. And out of a scram comes Walker, front court. Now Florida State, double-figure advantage. Has to soak some of the clock.
14 offensive rebounds for the Seminoles. 32 points in the paint. Big-time shift in their assertiveness in the second half.
Walker, a 3, hit the side of the glass. Thought Daniels fouled it. There was no whistle. NC State can't wait around, can they, Jordan?
No, absolutely not. You got to be in attack.
There's the turnover. Vassell will flip it ahead. Walker, bounce pass to Forrest.
How did that get through by Helms?
No idea. But it did. And here again, Florida State. It's the burn of the clock. Leonard Hamilton with 52 road wins in the ACC as the Seminole head coach, trying to go 5-3 on the road in the conference this year with a win today. And Vassell, another second chance on the offensive end.
15th offensive rebound.
Wow.
That's it.
Here's Osborne to help with the screen. Kick with 8 on the clock. Well, Patrick Williams, another double-figure effort for the freshman from Charlotte. This one off of Vassell miss. Very Cornette-like, I might add, off the backside.
Devin Vassell at 6'7" is a dynamic matchup. He can hurt you from the three-point line. Such a fluid athlete, dunk finishes. I liken his game to Paul George back at Fresno State. High praise, that kind of skill set. Coach Hamilton corrected me, said he feels more like a Rip Hamilton. It's a Hall of Famer. It's that kind of player. It's that kind of talent, and he's been huge for the Seminoles.
Well, and for all that, Devin Vassell is today's Zaxby's player of the game. Brought to you by Zaxby's, 11 points and 6 rebounds.
Don't look at me like that. I didn't say he's Paul George West right now. I said he's got some of those tools in the toolkit.
I'll ask Katie.
When Paul was coming out of college.
I think Katie, like me, heard you say he's Paul George.
I heard him say it.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that's
Wow,
where we are.
okay.
Right
I'm not
now.
making eye contact over there. Don't look this way.
I hear you, Cornette. 10-point game.
Us Midwesterners, I thought we stick together. I mean, for a lesson I'm learning here this Saturday afternoon.
3 ball out front by Osborne. Spins out. Here's Helms with under 3 to go, and the Wolfpack trailing by 10. And a turnover there for NC State. Well, let's say this, that the Vassell Zaxby's player of the game came from a list of strong nominations.
Yeah, it did.
Including Trent Forrest, M.J. Walker, and Patrick Williams.
Hey, you can throw Malik Osborne in there.
Malik Osborne as well. And that's what Florida State is.
Hey, you took the words right out of my mouth, Bryce. That's who this team is. That's why they're such a tough out. That's why me and you and a lot of the country are so high on this team. It's that system of Coach Hamilton. So many guys can hurt you.
Yep. Here is Forrest with 8 to shoot on the drive. And Osborne knocked out of bounds. It will belong to the Wolfpack. And I got to tell you, Katie, my favorite part about Patrick Williams, not only is his basketball skill set, it's just kind of who he is and who his mom is.
Oh, yeah. His mother, Janie Williams, taught her son an invaluable lesson at a young age. If you want something in this world, you have to work hard and go get it. 11 years ago, Janie Williams, who is here today, decided to leave her job working for a local flower shop in Charlotte to start her own business, Williams Florist. Patrick's first job was delivering flowers for his mom when he was in high school, so he saw her build the family business firsthand. He said he'd watch her transition from employee to employer, and it was incredible. Janie would be the first person to leave the house and the last one home. And Williams Florist has now been a staple in the Charlotte area for 11 years. Quite the example for her son.
I'd say so.
I love it.
And a nice young man.
It gives me the goosebumps, I'm telling you. Seeing your family here to support you, succeeding on the court, takes me back to my playing days. The comfort it brought me to look over and knowing that story now, seeing your family, it's incredible.
Benny not really happy at all with the no call there.
Oh, you know, Mom's she's gonna get in the officials now.
Yep. So a timeout, 62-54. She wanted a jump ball with 99 seconds to go in the game. That's exactly right. 8-point lead for Florida State after the bucket by Daniels. And Patrick has had a nice day, 11 points, half dozen rebounds, came in averaging 9 and 4. He's also 11th in the league in block shots. And
He's really been shining as of late.
woo, yes, sir. ACC Rookie of the Week a couple times. And I'll tell you, this is a big 48-hour swing when you think about the fact Florida State's playing NC State today. And Monday night, the Tucker Center will be up for grabs again because here come the Cards, who they handled by 13 points back on January 4th.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you're looking at a Clemson team that's very tough. There, Clemson, ask Duke, ask Louisville.
Right.
Notre Dame, at that point, we don't know what Notre Dame's going to be playing for. Could it be potentially a postseason berth? So you're going to get their best effort. And then Boston College, you never know. So you got to stay locked in. It's been really impressive to me that they came out here knowing how hungry NC State would be and have still managed to turn around in the second half and play impressive basketball.
By the way, the Cards are cruising in the final minute at the Yum Center today against Carolina. And so you look at Louisville, that would move them to 14-3. Jordan Wara's got 18 on the way to the Louisville victory. So it seems like Wara has now recovered from that 2 straight effort that was incredibly subpar for what his standards been. By the way, Syracuse up 4 on Georgia Tech with about 3.5 to go at the Dome today in Central New York.
When you lose that game, you can almost forget about it if you're Syracuse. So that one is huge as they were trailing by 11, not ready to give up on their season quite yet.
DJ Funderburk has fouled out of the ball game with 1:37 to go on a backcourt foul as NC State tries to extend the game here, down 8 points at 62-54.
That stretch of scoreless basketball that the Wolfpack endured, which ultimately was another undoing in this game. Funderburk was on the bench with that foul trouble. They only had 2 field goals in 10 minutes and 17 seconds of play. So Funderburk being saddled with that foul trouble definitely hurt them.
And if you want to look at where Florida State's comeback began, the guy at the free throw line would be a good place to start. MJ Walker scoreless in the first half. has gone for 10 here in the second half. And a chance to top his average there, and does so with the free throw.
Well, you mentioned it astutely, Wes. Coming out, you said, they're going to need this guy.
Yep.
And he went right to work from that point, right out of the gate, start the second half. And the team followed suit.
Walker hits them both. Same high school as the former Seminole Tony Douglas. Just south of Atlanta at Jonesboro, Georgia. Went to North Clayton and has really had a very solid junior season. Three ball from Daniels. NC State's got to get it to a two-possession situation.
Well, you got the leak out. You got MJ wide open down the floor.
Missed him on the seam route. Daniels in the backcourt. Helms and Beverly stole it, knocked it away.
Got to go.
Here's Beverly on the drive. A two-pointer is short. Slapped out for Markel Johnson. We're in the final minute now in Raleigh. Daniels and Walker the rebound, and he will race it by Markel Johnson, who commits the foul.
Man, did you get a good look. Daniels feet set, no defense around. And all of a sudden, it's real game pressure, two-possession game, but can't get it to fall. Walker does the right thing, leaking out with the basket.
You have talked about rebounding here in the second half, especially in the last 10 minutes. Its premium is going to buoy Florida State to a potential win here.
And they're not a great defensive rebounding team, which is an anomaly with their size. Very good on the offensive glass. They've done what's necessary when they get the stop to get that defensive rebound and take away any second chance.
Well, here's just a look at Syracuse and Pittsburgh, JC.
No Devin Vassell in the Syracuse game, not much Devin Vassell versus Pitt, but the effort and the overwhelming wholesale line changes for a roster that plays 11.
Crowd erupts. Two misses means free sandwiches. Here's Johnson on the drive, rebounded by Osborne with 45 seconds left and an NC State foul.
And we talked about that scoreless drought of 10 minutes. You're not going to beat an opponent like Florida State without your best Markel Johnson.
Right.
Markel Johnson has struggled all game long, and his backcourt mate C.J. Bryce has as well. And it's because of look how quickly they clamp down at the rim. Malik Osborne takes away any clear opportunity there, and it quickly becomes a low percentage drive.
Well, playing a verticality exquisitely handled by Malik Osborne.
Yeah, Malik Osborne has been good on the glass. He's been able to score it. He's been special defensively on some tough matchups on the ball.
By the way, Osborne is shooting for his first double-double as a member of the Seminoles here today. He's got a season-high 11 rebounds already.
Probably their best offensive rebounder for a team that is so good in that area.
This is a young man, by the way, who came in from Rice, averaged 9 points and 7 rebounds at the close of the 18 season, Jordan. He used the transfer year to add 25 pounds.
And I tell you, it went in as pure muscle. Because he is put together.
Yep. And Osborne missed them both.
Giving them opportunities.
Yep. 7-point game. Daniels on the drive, a 5-point game. 35 seconds left. Patrick Williams in the backcourt. A quick foul is handled Max Farthing, playing for the 10th time this year. Young man from Word of God Academy here in Raleigh. And he will send the Seminoles to the line with 33 seconds left. Florida State comes in shooting 77% against the conference. And much to the delight of Janie Williams, Patrick makes the first.
You ain't gonna miss him with mom here.
Got one of the two though. 6-point game. 28 seconds left. NC State out of timeouts. Lob for Helms. Left it short, ripped out of there, and recovered by Osborne with 20 seconds left.
That's a missed call. That's basket interference. There's a tug at the net. If that came from a Seminole, that should be a basket interference call. And it's just a matter of who grabs this net here. Is it Bright? Hard to
whoever
tell
was
from
under the
there.
basket.
Whoever that left arm is, and we're being told that's Osborne. That's basket interference. That's an automatic 2.
So Osborne back to the line. In a 6-point game with 19.7 left and missed the free throw.
Here's another look at it. So when Osborne, with his left hand inadvertently, doesn't matter,
Right.
grabs that net, that is basket interference, and NC State should have been rewarded 2 points.
Osborne missed them both. He's missed 4 straight. NC State needs 3s. Down 6. In the corner, Farthing
Stepped out of bounds.
stepped out of bounds. Max Farthing just 1 of 7 shooting 3s this year.
Beverly needs to understand, yeah, it's chaos, but the ball can't make it over to such a seldomly used player
Right.
in such an important situation.
So Osborne will come out of the game. Raekwon Evans, who's 72% at the free throw line, will step in. 11 seconds left. We'll send you right to Chestnut Hill when this finishes, and there's a foul quickly called on C.J. Bryce that will put Trent Forrest to the free throw line. Well, Florida State gets Louisville on Monday night. NC State goes to Chapel Hill to meet a Carolina team who defeated them by 10 in this building in late January.
Yeah, and that NC State team is going to be seeing a different North Carolina team. With Cole Anthony now back, Garrison Brooks, who was dominant in the first matchup, his status will be unknown going into that one.
By the way, Forrest 83% at the line in conference play. Hits his first of the afternoon at the Stripe. Yesterday, one of almost 50 student athletes in the ACC to be named to the Weaver James Corrigan Thacker postgraduate scholarship list. So hit them both there. It's an 8-point game. Daniels will lay it in. And it is going to be a final here in Raleigh. Florida State comes from 5 down in the second half. And they beat NC State 67-61. The Noles now 23-4 and 13-3 in the ACC, and they stay in that group with Duke and Louisville at the front, Jordan.
Very impressive for them to come out here on a Saturday afternoon. The Wolfpack faithful showing up, understanding there's postseason implications for their home team. Florida State did not come out in the first half looking how they wanted to, made the adjustments at halftime, came out there and were the aggressor in the second half. That was the difference.
Let's go to Katie George with Devin Vassell.
Thanks, Wes. Devin, I got to know, what was said at halftime that led to the kind of response by teammates MJ Walker, Malik Osborne, and others?
I mean, we were just saying to get stops. I mean, we felt like, we came out and, training MJ, got in foul trouble early, and that kind of messed us up, messed up our rhythm. But we were able to come out in the second half, get some stops. MJ got hot, and we started to get rolling.
How do you think the flip to the zone defense kind of helped stagnate their offense?
Yeah, I mean, we were on the locker room talking about it. The coaches and all of our teammates, we said that we thought that our zone could stagnate their offense. And, I mean, that's kind of what it did. We started, eyeing out to the shooters and making sure we just knew where everybody was, try to get rebounds, and that really changed our game. Looking forward,
Louisville just got a big win over North Carolina at home. They'll travel to Tallahassee on Monday. What excites you about that rematch?
I mean, everybody talks about Louisville. Every time you turn on TV, you see Louisville. So, I mean, we want to come out and just prove a point. And, I mean, it's a good win today, but we know, I mean, they're a great team. They have great coaches, and, we'll be ready for them on Monday.
Congratulations on this one. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, Devin, thanks. Congratulations to Florida State. They showed their depth today.
Absolutely. I'm still wondering why Katie didn't correct him. She's from Louisville. It's Louisville. It's Louisville, right, Katie?
Stay tuned. Jay Alter, Dallin Cuff coming up next from Conti Forum. Florida State, a 6-point winner in Raleigh.